Welcome to episode 5 of Talking Dubs on a beautiful September 25th, 2020. I am Ryan. I can't reach the top shelf of my own cupboard that I paid my own mortgage, Riley, and the man that can reach the popcorn off the top shelf, Peyton Arthur. How are y'all?
It's great to be back with you.
Good deal. Now, I think, we're getting into a groove and people need to know a little bit more about us. So just a little bit about me. I love chocolate milk, and I feel like you need to know my favorite chocolate milk. I feel like everyone needs to know we are not sponsored, but I'm passionate about chocolate milk, and I want you to know that I had bad chocolate milk. I'm not going to call anybody out, but if you want the best flavor, if you like chocolate and you're going to chocolate milk for chocolate, Flowing Hills Creamery has the best chocolate milk. But, Mr. Arthur, I don't know if you know this, I'm not a big chocolate person.
I do.
Okay, so there's sometimes I don't feel like a lot of chocolate. For those moments in time, True Moo is the best chocolate milk.
Okay. I'm obviously, that I'm lactose intolerant.
Yes.
But I love chocolate milk. And so being from Sabine Parish, where Flowing Hills Creamery is, it is obviously at the top of my list. I think it's great milk. I love supporting local agriculture. But when I can't get it, my favorite is Borden.
We see the beautiful Dutch chocolate. If I'm going to rank these, and I did because I'm a nerd, Borden's is number 2 because number 1 is shared by True Moo and Flowing Hills.
Okay.
And because you didn't ask, number 3 is Klein Peter because that's pretty good chocolate milk.
Klein Peter, local Louisiana dairy, yeah.
Yep. And then 4, and this is more of a kind of a national deal, Fairlife is number 4. And the one that I did not like is Prairie Farms.
Never heard of it.
Well, they do that thing where they'll like put it in like a cute bottle. You know what I'm saying? And it looks more like they're trying to get like a energy kind of protein supplement, and they have the stats for their milk, and it's just regular milk. I'm not a fan of that, but anyway, on flavor, Flowing Hills and True Moo is by far the best. But that is who I am for sure.
Before we move on, Mr. Riley, I forgot to tell you this the other day. I stopped by Wind Fuel on the way to school and got a biscuit the other morning. Yes. And they have 2 flavors of Borden milk in the back that I have never seen before. Okay. And one of them is not coming to me off the top of my head. One of them is caramel popcorn flavored milk. Maybe it was a milkshake. I don't know. It was in a Borden bottle. So I think you need to go try those flavors. That is at Wind Fuel. I think one of them was banana something. So,
are you saying where I spend half of my mornings, the place that has the best Fountain Dr. Pepper in Winfield also has 2 flavors of milk?
That's right.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. This might be the shortest podcast that we've had. So, wow. And I thought we were friends, Mr. Arthur. You could have told me. Okay.
No, I forgot about it.
All right. Wow. I guess we're really seeing who people are today. Okay. All right. Mr. Arthur's hiding stuff. Okay. So that is who we are. And that really takes us into our first real segment. Where is this? This is the week that was. These are all the things that happened this week. We have quotes, we have stories, and let's get into it, Mr. Arthur. Let's tell them about the week.
Sounds like a plan.
So, do you have any just headline or story that came out of your half of the ag department, Mr. Arthur?
The first thing, I think this is probably in at Fox later in the week. A Winfield High School agriculture teacher named Peyton Arthur, that's me, came up with a new word that will be submitted to Webster's Dictionary this week. Tragical. And tragical means to be tragic or be so tragic that it doesn't even seem real. It's almost magical. So you heard it here first. Tragical. It will be in Webster's dictionary before long.
I'm a big fan of this word. I did help pen the definition. Big fan of this, partly because it's my deafness that made this word come out. The reason why you should join judging teams is for the experience, for the career development, for the camaraderie between your teammates, and to hear us talk. That's basically it, Mr. Arthur.
It's a good time.
It's a great time. Yeah, tragical definitely doesn't describe the week I had.
No, not at all.
I did use that word today in fifth block when we were going through sales. I was telling kids that a certain chocolate milk was tragical. It was so sad. Yeah. I didn't even believe it. Wow. So I'm going to give a couple of things, a couple of quotes. We started the salesmanship unit this week with Ag 1. Mm-hmm. It's a marquee unit that is really specific to Ag 1 at Winfield Senior High School.
Right.
When I went to a young teacher training when I was like year 2, Mr. Vines gave, one of those things at LATA conference and one of those young teacher development deals. And he talked about this, and I've always wanted to see it happen. And experiencing kids, we gave little 10-second sales pitches that first day. Mm-hmm. And wow. I'm not going to call any names. But one young man wanted to put a spin on a pumpkin. He wanted to hit, I guess, a different demographic that might want a pumpkin, or a different group, or really a different time of year. Okay, so he's thinking maybe it's summer's ending. We still have that taste for watermelon. We still love our watermelon. So he tried to pitch a pumpkin is a off-brand watermelon.
Oh. Interesting twist.
Very interesting twist. He said it was for that horrible time of year, Halloween. That was his go-to. So we then had someone sell a speaker, any size speaker, for $10.99. Oh man! So
I love Preston so much they don't even know.
I think in the quotes from that day, I think the best one I had was ants can travel 1 mile per hour. And you might be thinking, I don't know about that. But to clarify, they wanted you to know it was in ant hours.
When you told me that this week, I still have yet to figure it out, but it's been on my mind ever since you told me.
Yes.
Is ant hours something similar to light years?
Maybe. And, light years is a measure of distance. So maybe ant hours is a measure of distance.
Yeah.
Maybe that make I can see that maybe. Okay. When he told me that, last week on the podcast we talked about adults come up with uninteresting explanations. Mm-hmm. And I'm a fan. I'm a fan of ant hours. I'm a fan of, trying to measure the speed of something that I can crush with my pinky. Like, I'm a fan. So.
Oh, goodness. Well, I have, I said last week on the podcast that I've taken a page from your book, and every once in a while I do a sticky note assignment at the end of class where I collect responses from some students. And I'm not going to call out a bunch of students here, but I am going to call out one. And I just asked a general overview. You're 2 weeks in, back-to-back in our class. How do you feel about it? I like getting that feedback and trying to be able to adjust as best we can for making the class engaging and so on and so forth. But Olivia Boucher had the most simple sticky note. But it kind of stuck with me. I think this is, and it kind of set the bar where I could surpass it. And she said, class equals good, which is very Olivia. But it made me want to make her next sticky note when I asked that question, class equals great. So she gave me a challenge, whether she knew it or not, to make class equal great. And then, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, did you ask specifically how was class? And she said class equals good. Was that?
No, I don't think that's. I just wanted them to give me some feedback on the class.
Okay.
And I got class equals good, and equals, of course, is an equal sign, not the word.
Right.
I did it again today. That was from, I think, Monday, but I did it again today. So I guess I did that maybe I did it last week on Thursday. I don't remember, but I just pulled her sticky note. But anyway, I did it again today, and I had 3 responses that 2 of them were the exact same. And then one of them made me feel really good about what we're doing in Ag 1, and I know your students feel the same way. 2 of them said, I want you to know how much I love this class, which is always rewarding to know when you put time into something and you get a reward out of it. And the other one said, this class is helping me a lot. Now, I didn't ask, follow up on that yet on how it's helping that student a lot, but I am so excited that our Ag 1 students are excited about what we're doing in Ag 1.
That's awesome. I love that. I love having that feedback from the kids, and when it means so much more if they can see the meaning and they can give a weight to their learning.
Right.
If they can assign a value and they see that it's meaningful, then that's all we can do. That's special. And I think you're right with Olivia's, just set a bar, and now we got to keep at least meeting the bar, but preferably exceeding the bar.
Yeah.
So, when we're going through the main parts of the whole idea of salesmanship, one of our students asked if they could sell a word.
Yes.
And to which we had to sadly say, you cannot sell a word. And I've been thinking about that. Maybe you could. Maybe we could sell Tragical and make some money. So I'll look into it.
Yep.
I'll look into it. So, Mr. Arthur, do you have anything else from the week?
That's all I have from the week. I think you would agree with me. This has been an incredible week. Finally feels like we are in the groove of things. I think you wrote or said earlier, catching steam. I feel like that's what we're doing, and we're getting to a point where I feel really comfortable with our students. Our freshmen are coming out of their shells. Our sophomores are glad to be here. In my class, I'm not sure about how the juniors and seniors are doing, but we are very excited for the year that's ahead of us.
I did want to mention this. We were able to work on our part of our service project in Ag 3-4. I'm sitting here looking at the aerial shots of the pollinator gardens and what we got going on out at Gum Springs, and we're making those benches, and they're so excited to get back in the groove, and every day it feels like it's more like school than the day before.
That's right.
It's been so far, I wouldn't say so far removed, but education is so different right now than it was 1 year ago. Mm-hmm. And it seems like we talk about that every week with the quotes and all, and how it's different, how you got to be changing, but it feels closer to comfortable for me. I don't know about you.
I think so, and I think part of the issue that we've had as teachers, and I think that's shown in our classes whether we wanted it to or not, was that every time that the accelerator's been pushed, somebody comes and slams the brake.
Right.
And right now, 2 weeks in, we feel real good and I feel like nobody's fixing to slam the brake on us. Now, it may happen, but things are moving. Things are, really just, I told you this, I think twice this week. I said, this is the best day of teaching I've ever had. And I said that 2 days in a row. So I feel good about, what I'm doing. I feel really, really good about what our students are.
Yeah, and you're closing in on something, and I don't even know if you think about it like this, but you're closing in on ending your first year of teaching. Mm-hmm. Your first year of teaching hasn't even ended yet.
Right.
Because you missed 8 weeks, is that right? We missed 8 in the spring?
8 weeks.
Yeah. So, we need to have a party in a couple weeks, Mr. Arthur.
I'm always down for a party.
We love to party. That means chips and salsa, right?
Absolutely. And all the sweet tea that El Patio can provide.
Amen. So, I think that's a great stopping point for where is this as we, look into what's coming in the future. We go into our next segment. Now we go into our next segment. When is this? This is where we talk about FFA news, mainly on local area and district level of FFA news. So this week we're talking about poultry. It is chicken. What contest are you picking? It is the poultry contest tomorrow. So our contest is all virtual. It is tomorrow. Something that we're having a hard time wrapping our heads around is that your points are going to qualify you for area and state awards.
That's right.
That's something that we've never really done before, Mr. Arthur.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if did y'all have any events that at 4-H that did anything like that?
No, the only thing that we've done that I've ever seen like that has been dairy cattle, and
right.
And it's we competed in that, of course, for the first time last year, and I got to see how that worked. But it is hard and it's challenging, I think, because we're so used to having at least 2 contests to prepare us, or 1 contest before state to prepare us for the state contest. So this is kind of going in cold turkey. No pun intended on turkey and poultry, but anyway.
Are we going in cold broiler? Is that what we're doing?
Too far.
Too far? Okay. Well, as we jump in cold layer, the contest is going to be similar to what we've seen in the past. And as far as content, we're still covering, we have interior eggs, exterior eggs, ready to cook, a ready to cook placing class, 2 classes of laying hens and part ID. It's weird, and I know it's weird for Mr. Vines as he got to look at this. A poultry contest with no reasons is kind of odd.
Very odd.
But I guess, livestock went through the same thing last week. I can't imagine if people had to listen to reasons, virtually. That'd been kind of a nightmare on whoever got forced to judge that. So now we will finally be done with all of our spring contests from 2020.
Yes.
The week that we hit fall is the week that we end spring contests. That's almost poetic.
Yeah.
So the next thing, Mr. Arthur, is talking about our LDEs, and we can give one, not really final sales pitch, but just again go into P-Law practice and the opportunities that we have. I know we've covered that before, but
yeah. Well, first I want to say to our freshmen, next week you guys will begin talking about parliamentary procedure, and you guys, if you're interested in that and you like that unit, you'll have an opportunity later in October to come out and try to make your way onto one of our parliamentary law teams. We're excited about parliamentary law. We've talked about it before on here, that it is such a rich tradition and history here in Winfield. And we hope this year to bring home the first place We did that in 2018, where our team last year went to nationals and got 5th in the nation. So Mr. Vines has started something here that has been very successful. We're proud to pick up and carry that even further. And so I think you're saying that we're going to practice the first day will be Thursday, October 1st. Is that correct?
Yes.
And, that'll be for our returning members. And then hopefully in a couple of weeks, we'll give you another date if you're interested, especially those of you that are freshmen or maybe even some sophomores that just didn't muster up the courage last year to come out, can come out and try to be part of Winfield FFA PLAW.
Please. It's such a, I just said when we started how special after school practice is, and PLAW is such a larger group. You're on that team and you get to really interact with several people that you might not have interacted with before.
And I think that's a great point. I think we were talking about last night. We have 11 officers. It's a huge team. I've loved working with them every minute that we've got to work with them. But some of these guys never were, very familiar in the same friend group even. And I think those 11 are probably as close as I've ever seen a group of high school students. And that's just because of the time that they put in and spent up here in the ag department. And I know that if you want to try out for any of our teams, and that after school practice is going to help foster those friendships.
Yeah, that was the thing I took from FFA as a student. I never would have hung out with those people. I never would have met those people. And that was coming from a guy. I was very shy, Mr. Arthur. I didn't want to go out and I didn't want to do anything. So FFA for me was a way that I broke out. And I think that's a good way for, other students to do that too. So I had one other thing for FFA news, and I can't remember what it was, Mr. Arthur.
Well, I have one. We have gotten the results in for livestock, and our blue team placed 3rd in Area 2. We are very thankful for all of those students that came out and trained for livestock. I know it's been months since we initially had trained for it, but these guys came in and really hit it hard. And hopefully this coming spring, in just a few short months, we'll have another team or another couple teams for livestock, and we'll do even better at state contest.
That was it, Mr. Arthur. I wasn't thinking about results. I was thinking about for our older students, our virtual banquet.
Yes.
Now that we have results for livestock, and I'm guessing we'll have poultry results first of next week.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Based on how we got livestock anyway. So that means once we get all results in, all of our upperclassmen, that means we can finally have our spring awards banquet in the fall, 6 months later. So be looking for that sometime in October. Not sure when, and we're getting the logistics ironed out. So it'll be virtual. It will be video format, and that's about what we know at the moment.
Yep.
So, Mr. Arthur, do you have any more FFA news?
Other than several of you guys have asked, and just try to get those FFA dues in as soon as possible. Mr. Riley, what day are those going to be due officially?
Mr. Arthur, I would love to look at my phone, but I can't.
I think it's the 29th. That's the date that I remember.
Was that the date that I wrote on the board?
I do believe so, yes, sir.
Okay.
That'll be on Thursday, the 29th of October. We want those by. But let me say this, and I think Mr. Riley would agree with me. The faster you get those in, the quicker that we're going to be able to have a cookout for you guys. And so we want to do it before it gets too bitterly cold outside. And for those of you who are not familiar or missed this in class, those cookouts will be held during lunch, and you'll come down and get you hamburger or hot dog or whatever we're cooking for that cookout. So we are excited about the FFA year. We want you guys to be excited. So for $20, you get at least 2 cookouts, maybe 3, a T-shirt, and eligibility for our FFA.
Mr. Arthur, I'm so scatterbrained today. I forgot that when this goes live, we will also have our first chapter meeting posted.
All right, I wasn't sure when it was officially going to be posted.
Well, it'll be posted I shouldn't say it'll be at the same time. It'll be posted sometime on Friday.
Awesome.
So if you're listening to this before you see that, be on the lookout sometime Friday. I'm thinking it will be in our Google Classrooms. It'll also be on either the Facebook will have the link, but it'll at least be on our YouTube page.
Cannot wait to see it.
I've gotten to see parts of it throughout the editing process, and it's come together really well. Really excited that our officers are taking the initiative to learn how to edit and put things together, and they are starting to have a good eye for putting videos together, Mr. Arthur. Really excited.
That's great. And, we talked about our officers quite a bit during this section, but those guys have just stepped up for us. And, it's been a very hectic year for educators and teachers, and they have made my job, and I know they've done yours the same, so much easier. And we are very thankful for those officers.
Here, if we're talking about them too much and any of our members are like, man, they're talking about the officers too much, run for office. Take that initiative, take that role, take that opportunity when it comes around in the spring, and, we will have opportunities for them. So, also, and this will have no bearing other than the coolness factor, our president and one of our vice presidents in the morning will be on KBCL, our local hometown radio station.
But, I don't know, and I'm sure you don't either, the last time that Winfield FFA made an appearance on the radio. But we are excited to be on that early show on Friday morning and hopefully get a lot of listens in to promote our program. And then we'll be doing that in future months to give updates about what our program is doing.
So I think now that's all the FFA news.
It was a lot more than I thought, but yeah, I think that's all of it.
I feel like that letter that Paul wrote in the Bible, Mr. Arthur. He's like, that's all I know. Oh, yeah, also this. Oh, yeah, also this. So that is all for When Is This? Our FFA news. Now on to the next segment. Why is this? This is the portion that me and Mr. Arthur have taken it upon ourselves to tell you about quotes that help define who we are, how we feel, and what we're kind of looking at as a whole on a life situation or on a career education situation. I'm just rhyming words, Mr. Arthur. So would you like to start, or would you like me to?
Yeah, I don't mind starting. This week I have 3 quotes. The first one is Arthurless, I guess. I don't know who said it. But it says, let your smile change the world, but don't let the world change your smile. And, this week, or I guess really these past couple of weeks, have really been good for my mental health and keeping me fired up and motivated about education. To have our students back, and we've mentioned being in the swing of things and just being full steam ahead. I love to see our students coming in the morning smiling, and then by the end of the day, sometimes I just see a bunch of frowns. But it's nothing that's going on at this school should get you down. I think you'll agree, Mr. Riley, that we have some of the most talented, wonderful students in the world right here in Winfield. And I know we all struggle with things, but the quote says, let your smile change the world. Don't let the world change your smile. So that's it's a quote that I like, but it's also kind of a challenge to all the listeners.
And I'm going to take that challenge. And again, somehow these are kind of working together. This might be a little bit of a stretch, but I think it goes pretty good. Mr. Arthur, I love video games. I don't hide that fact. There is, it's a part of me. Okay. And, I was thinking today, and I was just, different quotes were bouncing around in my head, and I thought about this, and I thought about the original Legend of Zelda. Okay. And I think you're a little familiar with Zelda.
Yeah.
So the original one, they're in Hyrule Forest. You have to go around. You have to find a cave. You go in the cave, and the old man gives you a sword. And do you know what the old man says?
No, I don't.
Well, this isn't the quiz portion, no big deal. And also, he doesn't really say anything because it's a 1986 video game. But, there's a text bubble. And it pops up and it says, "It's dangerous to go alone. Take this." Everything that we're doing here, me and you have said this a lot. We couldn't do it without each other.
Right.
This is a partnership. We're working together. And, I at lunch one day this week, CPS himself, Charles Parker Saunier, came in and said, "I told Mom last night that I wanted to have a friend I wanted to have a friendship when I get older like you and Mr. Arthur have." And I thought about that. And I've thought about that a lot. And what FFA does for people is it brings them together. And, you're talking about the smile and sharing that. Sometimes it's hard to smile.
It definitely is.
It definitely is, and, me and you balance each other out a lot. And I come in, annoyingly happy, and you end the day annoyingly happy, and we really go well together. But it's important for, kids to remember that find that friendship, find something that compliments you. And because sometimes it is dangerous to go alone. You need something else.
Yeah. And I want to add to that real quick. Two things. Number one, some of these guys came in yesterday, I think it was, and, we were just acting goofy. I woke up in a good mood, and I'm usually, like I said, not in a real good mood early in the morning, but we were acting goofy and got a lot of smiles, I think, on Wednesday morning. But, we do that because, if we see you guys in a down mood, we want you to be happy. We want to be happy. And that's, like I said, that's not always the case. But for me, specifically, if you're in my class and you see me and I'm not happy, you need to just tell me, "Mr. Arthur, you need to smile." I need that reminder. I'm not perfect. So I challenge my students not only to smile, but also if they catch me not smiling, to let me know about it.
Yeah. So that was my first quote.
All right. Well, my second one is from Brian Tracy. I have no idea who Brian Tracy is.
Okay, I was wondering, but
no clue. There are no limits to what you can accomplish except the limits you place on your own thinking. And oftentimes, I'm the world's worst about getting bogged down trying to find the things that don't work. But I know, and I have experienced through this program, my short career here at Winfield, that there are no limits to what we can achieve. We've talked about the great students that we have, the best in the world, I think. And with their help, with the help of our administration, with our fellow teachers, there is absolutely no limits to what we can accomplish here at Winfield and in Winfield FFA.
So I was going to go, I wrote these in order that I thought I was going to go in. Mm-hmm. And when you said that, talking about the best, that goes with the one I had for last. So this one means a lot to me. I'm going to slide it up to 2, and I'll end on a funny note.
Okay.
So the second quote that I have is lyrics from a song, and the song is by AWOL Nation. Have you ever, Mr. Arthur? AWOL Nation?
I've heard of them. I've never listened to them.
They had that song a long time ago that kids would sing, and it was annoying. It was Sail. I don't know if you remember Sail. but
oh yeah, I remember that.
So one of their songs, and it's actually on our playlist right now, is called "The Best."
Mm-hmm.
And part of the song goes, "I just want to be the best. I'm hardly perfect. I'm barely good. Just shy of greatness. I want to walk a little bit taller. I want to feel a little bit stronger. I want to think a little bit smarter." And, it starts off with that, I want to be the best, but I'm hardly perfect. I'm barely good, but then I'm just shy of greatness. It's that internal conflict that the author's having, that the writer, the singer's having, going back and forth, and I think we talked about that some last week. We're bouncing back and forth, and we don't want to be overzealous, but then it's a struggle. It's an internal conflict, and but what we are doing here is good. What we're doing here, class equals good. We're pressing onward. And what was your quote?
The one I just did?
The one you just did.
It was, there are no limits to what you can accomplish except the limits you place on your own thinking.
So that internal struggle is your thinking, that those are the limits you're putting on yourself. And if you don't do that, if you're leaving those limits off, if you, like several times today, in fact, in fifth block, when we were talking about what Monday is going to look like with their presentations, and the young man's like, I can't do it. And I was like, you can do it. And he's like, no, you don't understand. I don't like to speak in front of people, and sometimes I have maybe a speech impediment or some of those things, which I think we've all kind of had some of those concerns to various degrees. And I grew up with a stuttering problem, and I grew up being scared to death to talk in front of people, and little known fact, still scared to death to talk in front of people.
Yeah.
And that's something that if I tell myself I can't, then I'll just stay at home because I really like my house, but we can't do that. We got to pressing on. Tell yourself you can do it, and that really goes back to the first ones when we're talking about find a way, find help, smile. And I think those really go good together.
Well, my last quote again comes from an unknown author. I don't know who wrote it or said it, but it goes right in with what we were just talking about. So a little reinforcement. It says, the road to success is always under construction. And, oftentimes we find ourselves in that internal battle. You're talking about the thinking a while ago, and, we hit a roadblock, and, it's your choice whether you're going to give up, whether you're just going to stay still, or whether you're going to take a detour and go around it. And if you take that detour and go around it, you're definitely going to get to your destination quicker. And that's the difference between failure and success, in my opinion. It's not about whether or not you complete a task, it's how fast you complete it. Because most people are going to eventually complete the task. And so, I just encourage everyone, things are going to happen in life. They're going to happen at school, where you hit those roadblocks or you hit construction. But take that detour and get to your destination as fast as possible.
I love what's happening with this and what happens with this section every week, because you said that about success. Okay. My last quote, Mr. Arthur, you and I last night watched an episode of Modern Family. And Phil Dunphy is one of my favorite TV characters of all time. And one episode, Phil says, success is 1% inspiration, 98% perspiration, and 2% attention to detail. So I think I don't want to say anything else about that. That's just a good time. I love to laugh, and it's a good reminder, inspiration, sure, but that perspiration, that hard work, success is going to come to those that work hard.
Yep.
You can run into luck and good fortune sometime, but you need to work hard to keep it up. So And that's definitely something I've learned over the past little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have anything else for the quote section, Mr. Arthur?
That's all I've got.
So we go on to the last segment of Talking Dubs, episode 5. All right. We are in the last segment that we like to call What Is This? And this is typically where I ask some music questions, music trivia. Mr. Arthur gives me some basketball trivia that I will definitely not know any of. So, I'm guessing, Mr. Arthur, you still want me to go first?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So, I changed up the format this week, Mr. Arthur.
Okay.
I did questions that anybody could get. And not...
Say that.
Well, what I should say is, you don't have to be a music fan to answer these questions.
All right.
But I'm going to teach you some music while we go through these.
Okay.
Okay. I tried to take a little bit from your style and try to, make it my own. So here we go. Are you familiar with Lecrae?
I am.
I figured you were. And so a good start. Lecrae Devon Moore. And according to Wikipedia, they define him as a Christian hip-hop artist.
Okay.
He's released 10 studio albums. The first one that I had was Rebel, and I don't know if you're familiar with that or not.
No, I don't.
It came out in 2008. It's a little dated, but it's really good. It has some of the best message of any Lecrae's stuff. It's really good. But it featured people like Tadashi, Tripoli, who's another favorite of mine. Also featured a couple of like pastors preaching in some tracks. It was really good. But his journey really shows me a lot, and it really means a lot to me. His journey started with his birth in 1979. He was born in a Southwest metropolitan area that has two things. One, a population that is roughly equal to the total worldwide number of Walmart employees, which is around 2.2 million people. And two, has 4 bayous that run through it. Name that town.
Can you repeat the Walmart thing one more time?
Okay. It has a population that is roughly equal to the total number of worldwide Walmart employees, which is 2.2 million.
Okay. Well, you asked me if I was familiar with Lecrae, and I am. I do know he's from Texas.
Okay.
Now, the 2.2 thing throws me off a little bit.
Do you need me to clarify?
No, I don't need you to clarify.
Okay.
What it was throwing me off was I was thinking about this city, and I guess the metro area is bigger than that. So, I think it's Houston.
You are correct. I gave you the Bayou thing because I don't know if you know this. Houston's the Bayou City.
I did not know that, but I figured it had to be pretty south.
Right. So, yes, Houston, Texas is where Lecrae was from. That was question number 1.
Okay.
So after moving around throughout his childhood, Lecrae enrolled in college. His choice of school was based on 2 things. Like most prospective college students, he would choose his school based on location and the major that he thought he would enjoy. He found a school that is found in the Metroplex and has an excellent music production program. Name the university.
It's from the Metroplex that he came from?
No, the Metroplex, as in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Oh. And it has a good music program?
Yes.
Well, there's, a few schools up there. Because he's a Christian artist, I'm going to go with Texas Christian University, TCU.
Ooh, that's an excellent choice. Excellent choice. It is incorrect. This music, the College of Music at this university dates back to the year 1890 when the university was founded. It is the University of North Texas.
Out of Denton.
Out of Denton. So, for those of you that don't know, his study was in music production and music composition. He really, enjoyed working with that. Just that college at the university has 1,500 enrolled.
Wow.
It said about 500 of those being grad and 1,000 undergrad. So, I thought
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting, and that's why he chose to go there and further his talents and learning. So, last one, Mr. Arthur. Through his 10 studio albums, Mr. Moore, Lecrae Moore, has had many chart-topping hits. With those hits, he's gained many fans and has garnered much critical success with over 20 awards, including 2 Grammys. His fans include professional athletes. Which former Ivy League guard recommended Lecrae's music in a post-game interview while playing for the Houston Rockets in 2012?
Ooh. Wow. Ivy League guard.
Huh?
I'm thinking Ivy League guard.
Ivy League guard. I'm going to let you know, I didn't know that he was from the Ivy League until I was writing this.
Okay.
And if you want a couple of stats to help you pinpoint the player, I'll give you some.
You can try. I'm not sure that's going to, NBA is not my big thing, but we're going to try. Go ahead and give me some stats.
I think you definitely heard of this one. And I wouldn't have done you like this this time anyway. So typically regarded as a sixth man, this year, or the year in question, he averaged 30 minutes a game and put up 13.4 points per game. So not a major scorer, but it was definitely insane when he came on the scene. Insane.
And you say he played for the Rockets?
In 2012, yes.
Okay.
But don't let that get caught. Don't let that trip you up.
Yeah, the one I was thinking about. I don't know. You got to give this one to me.
Oh man, I was really hoping the insane thing would help out. I was hoping I didn't know if everybody knew he is from the Ivy League. He actually went to Harvard.
Okay.
It is Jeremy Lin.
Huh. I did not know he went to Harvard.
You see, I had no idea either. And when he first came up and took the world by storm, it was Linsanity. That's what they called it.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my game, Mr. Arthur.
Didn't they make a movie about that?
I think they did.
Okay. Well, you learn something every day, huh?
Yep.
All right. So I told you guys last week, I told Mr. Riley that I was going to switch up kind of what I was doing from more of a history thing to more of a basketball fundamentals, general knowledge trivia. And so this week I picked 4 questions that I'm pretty sure, Mr. Riley, you're going to get at least 3 of. And then we'll slowly get more in depth as the weeks go on until I switch gears again. But the first one is, what is the name of this foul that is made purposefully for harm?
I like that you had to say purposefully. That would be an intentional foul. Is that correct?
No.
What are we talking about? Are we talking about college or professional?
Well, I was kind of going off more of a high school level. All levels have this type of foul, and in the NBA, there's 2 types of this foul.
Right. Okay. Is this a technical foul?
It's not. It
Is
is
it
a type
flagrant?
The flagrant foul.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, in a flagrant foul, in most high school associations, is automatic ejection.
Right.
In NBA, you have a flagrant 1 and a flagrant 2. Flagrant 1s do not result in ejection, but a 2 does. Okay. So, what does a player earn if they pass the ball to a teammate who immediately scores?
That would be an assist.
Assist. That is right.
Or a dime. Would it be a dime, Mr. Arthur?
Well, not technically, but yeah. Okay. After an inbound pass, where does an offensive player have to progress the ball to without getting a backcourt violation?
Half court? Mid court?
Half court is correct. In most high school associations, especially Louisiana, you have that 10-second backcourt rule.
Right.
Most colleges have kind of moved away from that. Most conferences, because they have the shot clock, so you have to get down the court anyway.
Right.
So.
Can you explain why the referees count with that arm motion? Is that a full second every time they do that?
It is. They're supposed to count, and it's supposed to hit a 90-degree angle at each second mark.
Okay.
And so obviously I'm not on camera, but
right.
I'm mimicking it right now. But when it comes in L, it's 1, 2, and then so it's also supposed to be able. They're counting where everyone can see them, so there's no question if they rushed it.
Right.
So. All right, and the last one, and I told you these were, pretty simple, but hopefully next week I can get them a little higher level. But Mr. Riley, you've been around basketball. You've taught at 2 basketball schools before coming here. So maybe some of our listeners who are not as familiar with the game can pick up a few things, especially some terminology during this.
Yeah.
All right, in a basketball game, this is mainly high school stuff. An error is noticed in the team's scorebook. One player is not included in the lineup for the home team. What is the correct ruling?
And at what point was this found? After tip or?
After tip. Most of the time this is found when they put the player who's not on the roster, try to sub them into the game.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
when you kept the clock several times, and your kid
right.
comes down to the scores table, you go to buzz them in, and your bookkeeper says, hey, he's not on my book. Right. So what do the officials have to do?
I'm guessing, and I honestly don't remember this. Here's what I would think. He's removed, and the other team gets to shoot 2.
Yeah, it's a technical foul.
Okay.
So he has to leave the floor, and then he can be added to the book.
Right. Okay. But
now that technical foul goes against the bench.
Okay, that's
not
what
against the third person.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that, Mr. Arthur. And here's the thing. I answered, like 1.5, 2.5 of those correct. Don't think that you have to get very much more advanced than what you just did to trip me up. Okay. But I like that. Get us back into hard court season. You know what I'm saying? And I like it. Big fan.
I've actually talked with a couple people in town, trying to pull some Winfield basketball history, and so maybe when the season gets closer, I'll have enough information to do a couple weeks of Winfield basketball stuff.
Okay, yeah, that'd be good. So, Mr. Arthur, do you have anything else?
I don't. It's been fun as always. I look forward to having our kiddos back with us on Monday. And then, of course, be watching for virtual assignments on Friday the 25th, which is today.
One last thing. I did want to say this as we go, Mr. Arthur. With this being our assignments on Fridays, we finally have the 0 to 17 age group as our most listened to demographic.
Yes.
Before that, it was just our moms.
We love our moms and nanas. We appreciate y'all listening in. Keep listening, but we want our students also to listen.
You know, it's one of those things. If anybody appreciates our humor, it is that demographic. It is the moms and the nanas. And I think you would agree with that.
Yes.
And also, someone has tuned in from Ireland. I don't know who that was. I don't know why that was. But this has been the Talking Dubs podcast for episode 5. So we will see you next week.
See you next week.
I got to go get caramel popcorn chocolate milk.